Thank you for taking the time to interview with me today, Mr. Johnson. I really appreciate it. I'm a huge fan and avid member of your local bank branch.
So, Sean, what is it that made you want a job at Los Santos Banking?
Well, I've always had the ideology that money is the true power within a given nation, or really around the world. I mean, it's the one thing that's superseded pretty much every event in history, is that there will always be a market and people to buy in it. And it's always really interesting to see how little patterns fit together, how little inclinations, every movement has its own place and its own piece within the grand schism of things. And I really think that was a lot of the motivating factor towards why I found it so interesting, just because there's so many different aspects that you can explore, so many different spheres, the different bits of information that all play a bigger part into the whole. So, I mean, I guess you could always say that ever since I walked into a bank, I've been a fan of it.
What were some of the difficulties you had faced in life, and how have you overcame them?
Going to Concord University was definitely my biggest, I would have to say. I was only there for a semester, and I had a very difficult time being away from my parents and away from my friends and away from my girlfriend. And I know it's not exactly the most problematic of problems, but I didn't adjust well, and it bled into my grades and bled into my social life. I basically outcasted everybody, and I just couldn't evolve into it. It just wasn't part of my ability.
Do you prefer a more hands-on or taken-back approach?
Hands-on, definitely, just simply because you learn more about the process being involved and doing it than you can just watching it from afar, I feel like. At least that's been my experience. I can never truly grasp something unless I literally grasp it, if that makes any sense.
What is your definition of a bad boss or manager?
Definitely someone who's, well, I hate to say lazy because that's a broad term, but someone who delegates all their tasks onto their inferiors, all their employees that they're managing. And I've noticed a lot of incompetency when it comes to a manager being picked simply because they needed someone to fill the position. No one wanted to step up and be salaried, working 60 hours a week for corporate, always breathing down their neck. And so it led to a lot of must make a choices, I feel like. I've seen that throughout a lot of my jobs, in that someone was picked for the position that someone had been better suited for it. And I've also found that a lot of the times their whole personality revolves around not necessarily brown-nosing, but appeasing the corporate above them. Whoever is their boss, they just want to make happy. And so they will tell them exactly what they want to hear, and nothing short of that.
What makes you stand out from the other candidates?
I'd have to say my commitment to things. I don't take things extremely personally, but I like to make things personal simply because I feel if I'm invested in it myself, then I want to make it better for everyone involved. And I'd also have to say my willpower, because I believe that suffering leads to experience. That every wound, every scar is a learned time from something that you survived from. And that each one will teach you something you need to know in the future to better deal with whatever comes your way. And of course, I'm probably a lot taller than the rest of the candidates. I've met them, but based on average,
Laughs with interviewee. Thank you for coming in today. We will get back to you if we hear anything promising about the open position.
Well, I appreciate it, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. And I thank you for taking the time even just to sit down with me.